Why is English spoken worldwide? Why do people from vastly different backgrounds living thousands of miles apart often share a common language? Why do sports like football and cricket unite people from Canada to Australia, from India to South Africa, creating a sense of global community? Why do distant countries, separated by oceans and continents, share similar legal systems and traditions in their courts? These are not coincidences. They're the living echoes of the British Empire, once the largest and most influential in history, stretching across continents and shaping countless societies. The Empire's story is woven into our languages, our laws, our favorite sports, and even the tea we drink each day. Its influence lingers in the most unexpected corners of our lives. Understanding this past is key to understanding our present. The choices and events of centuries ago still shape our world, our relationships, and our identities. Built by a small island nation, the empire's rise was messy, driven by trade, piracy, ambition, and cruelty. It was a story of adventure and conquest, but also of hardship and resistance. Its legacy is complicated. It brought railways and a global language, but also left deep scars of exploitation, inequality, and conflict that still affect millions today. To truly understand our world, we must look at both the achievements and the painful truths beneath them. Only then can we appreciate the full story of how we got here. So, let's travel back in time to see how Britain built a global empire that shaped the modern world, influencing everything from culture to politics. We'll meet pirates turned heroes, merchants turned kings, and countless ordinary people whose lives were changed forever by the tides of history. This isn't just Britain's story, it's the story of the birth of our interconnected world, with all its triumphs, challenges, and unresolved problems that still echo today. And in many ways, it's a story still being written today, as we continue to grapple with its legacy and shape the future together. The year is 1588. England stands at a crossroads, its fate hanging in the balance as the world around it shifts and trembles. England is a small, anxious nation overshadowed by Spain, the world's superpower, whose vast empire stretches across continents and oceans. Spain's mighty armada, commanded by King Philip II, threatens to crush Protestant England and restore Catholic rule, casting a long shadow over the English people. England, poor and outnumbered, faces existential dread. The threat is not just military but spiritual and cultural, a fight for survival and identity. But English ships are smaller, faster, and crewed by skilled sailors, many with pirate backgrounds, hardened by years of raiding and adventure on the high seas. Led by daring figures like Sir Francis Drake, these men fight with cunning, using hit-and-run tactics and long-range cannon fire to harass the Spanish fleet. When the Armada arrives, it's battered by both English tactics and fierce storms, the so-called Protestant wind, a force of nature that seems to favor the English cause. The Spanish fleet is scattered and defeated, its ships wrecked along the coasts, its sailors captured or lost to the sea. This stunning victory sparks national pride and signals that England can challenge the giants of Europe. The people rejoice, sensing a new destiny unfolding. The defeat of the Armada marks a turning point. England, once an underdog, now dares to dream of a future on the world stage, with Queen Elizabeth I at its helm. The seeds of empire are sown in the wake of this unlikely triumph, as England looks outward with newfound confidence and ambition. From this moment, England's ambitions grow far beyond its shores, setting sail for distant lands and unknown opportunities. The world will never be the same. The ripples of this victory spread across continents, shaping the course of history. The age of English expansion has begun, as explorers and settlers venture into the unknown, building new worlds. And the echoes of this victory still shape our world today, reminding us how a small nation's courage can change the fate of nations. Before Britain had an empire, it had privateers, state-sponsored pirates who sailed the seas with the Queen's blessing. These daring adventurers were not just outlaws, but agents of the crown, given permission to attack enemy ships and bring back riches. Sir Francis Drake, feared by Spain as El Drake, became a national hero by raiding Spanish ships and settlements. His exploits struck terror into the hearts of Spain's sailors and made him a legend back home. His daring voyages brought back treasure worth more than the Queen's annual income, filling England's coffers with gold, silver, and precious gems seized from Spanish galleons. Queen Elizabeth secretly invested in these high-risk ventures, blurring the line between piracy and patriotism. She played a dangerous game, supporting privateers while maintaining plausible deniability with foreign powers. These privateers weakened Spain's dominance at sea, enriched England, and gave English sailors vital experience in navigation and naval warfare, skills that would prove crucial in the years to come. Their motivations were a mix of greed, glory, and religious zeal. Many saw themselves as soldiers in a holy war against Catholic Spain, while others simply chased fortune and adventure. They also established England's first footholds in the Americas and charted new sea routes, paving the way for future explorers and settlers to follow in their wake. The era of privateering fostered a culture of maritime risk-taking and innovation. Shipbuilders and navigators pushed the limits of technology, learning to survive and thrive on the unpredictable ocean. The line between pirate, explorer, and merchant was thin. These sea dogs were pioneers of English expansion, often switching roles as opportunity demanded. Their chaotic adventures laid the groundwork for a global trading empire, opening new markets and establishing England as a major player in world trade. From plundering ships to building colonies, they set England on a path to world power, transforming it from a small island nation into a force to be reckoned with. The age of the privateer was just the beginning, a bold chapter that launched the rise of the British Empire and changed the course of history. In 1600, Queen Elizabeth granted a royal charter to London merchants. The East India Company was born. This joint stock company let investors share profits and risks, funding dangerous voyages to Asia. The goal break into the spice trade, dominated by the Portuguese and Dutch. Early voyages were perilous, but the rewards were immense. The company established trading posts in India, trading English goods for cotton, silk, and spices. At first they were humble traders in the vast Mughal Empire. But as the Mughal Empire weakened, the company seized its chance. With a private army, it intervened in local politics, most famously at the Battle of Plassey in 1757, led by Robert Clive. Victory gave the company control over Bengal, the richest province in India. Suddenly, merchants became rulers, collecting taxes, administering justice, and laying the foundation for the British Raj. A private corporation had become a colonial power. The age of trade had become the age of empire. While the East India Company expanded in Asia, a darker empire grew in the Caribbean, built on sugar and slavery. Sugar was a luxury, and Caribbean islands like Barbados and Jamaica became gold mines. Producing sugar was brutal, and indentured servants couldn't survive the harsh conditions. Planters turned to the transatlantic slave trade, buying millions of enslaved Africans to work the fields. The infamous triangular trade sent British goods to Africa, enslaved people to the Americas, and sugar back to Britain. This system generated immense wealth, fueling cities, banks, and the Industrial Revolution. But it was built on unimaginable suffering, violence, family separations, and death. The sugar that sweetened British tea was produced through profound cruelty. Many British fortunes were made on the backs of enslaved people. The legacy of slavery remains one of the most painful stains on the empire's history. The bitter taste of empire lingers to this day. By the mid-1700s, Britain and France were locked in a global struggle for supremacy, the 7 Years' War. Battles raged in North America, the Caribbean, and India. In 1759, Britain's Year of Wonders, it captured Quebec, defeated the French in India, and smashed the French fleet. The Treaty of Paris in 1763 confirmed Britain's victory. France ceded Canada and lost influence in India. Britain now ruled a sprawling empire across continents. Its navy dominated the seas, protecting trade and projecting power. The war was costly, but Britain emerged as the world's leading superpower. The global chessboard had a new master. The British Empire was now truly global. The world order had changed forever. After its triumph, Britain faced a new crisis: debt from war. To pay, it taxed its American colonies, sparking outrage. No taxation without representation. Protests escalated into revolution. In 1776, the colonies declared independence. Despite military might, Britain lost the war. Its first empire seemed to crumble. But Britain was resilient. While losing America, it looked elsewhere. In 1788, it founded a new colony in Australia, charted by Captain James Cook. Australia began as a penal colony, marking the start of a second empire focused on Asia, Africa, and the Pacific. The loss of America was not the end. but a pivot. Britain's imperial ambitions only grew. The empire adapted, expanding into new continents. The story of British power was far from over. The 19th century was the golden age of the British Empire. After the Napoleonic Wars, Britain had no serious European rivals. The Royal Navy ruled the oceans, protecting trade and suppressing piracy and the slave trade. The sun never set on the empire. Its territories spanned the globe. The Industrial Revolution fueled expansion, with colonies supplying raw materials and buying British goods. London became the world's financial capital. New technologies like steamships and telegraphs shrank distances, tightening imperial control. The empire expanded in Africa during the scramble for Africa, and in Asia, India became the jewel in the crown. The British brought law, railways, and sports like cricket, but also imposed their rule and culture. The civilizing mission justified exploitation and racism. For millions, the empire meant both opportunity and injustice. The British Empire shaped the modern world, for better and for worse. Its legacy is still with us. The British Empire is gone, but its legacy shapes our world. Borders in Africa and the Middle East, drawn by British officials, still fuel conflict. The partition of India and Pakistan left deep scars. English is now the global language of business and science. Legal systems and parliamentary democracy in many countries trace back to Britain. Victorian architecture and cultural influences remain worldwide. But the empire also left patterns of wealth and poverty and racism that persist today. Its story reminds us that progress for some came at a devastating cost to others. The empire's web of connections became the foundation of our globalized world. Understanding this history isn't about blame, it's about recognizing the forces that shaped us. The question now, how do we build a more just world from the empire's legacy?